Whoosh! Hello, BookTube. I am back, and I am in a different setting, if you could tell. I'm in front of doors instead of over there in the corner. So I'm over here because I thought I would bring you to my books instead of bringing all of these books over to you, because they're already nicely in this little corner and in neat stacks, and I labeled them. I'm making this video about different seasons of reading and different seasons as in life seasons, as well as seasons of the year: spring, summer, fall, winter. So I, last night, in one of my late night musings, decided to separate my entire TBR, which is about 47 books right now. TBR means to be read books, in case you haven't been around BookTube very long. And the TBR is, it's just been so overwhelming for so long, and of course I always add to it, and rarely take anything away. But right now I'm hoping that I can finish this specific TBR by the end of the year. So this is TBR that I own. I'm not including any borrowed books except for one that I'm borrowing from within my own household. And they're books that I own and want to read so that I can decide if I want to keep them or give them away. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you down to my books and show you, well, I can actually bring it up in stacks. Okay. Because they're nice little neat stacks now. Alright, so this first one was just basically things I want to finish before I graduate high school. These are books that, well, let's just look at each book by itself. So this is Mansfield Park. This is the last Jane Austen, and I want to read this because it's the last Jane Austen, and she's been my favorite author pretty much throughout all of high school, and I have to read her last book, and just to be able to call myself a Jane Austen fan. Sorry, there's a little bit of a glare. Let me get to the blinds. Ooh, there we go. Okay. This is Flunked, and this just ended up in this stack because it's short and it's a kid's book, and I'll probably end up getting rid of it, so it seems like an easy thing to read and then pass on. The Importance of Being Earnest, because it's short and I need to have read it to be an English major. All the rest of the Elsie Dinsmore series, I'm on the third book, so I will have 5 left after that. And I just really wanted to reread the series before I went off to college, and I've just been thinking about how it's shaped my writing. I talked a little bit about that in the last video, so I'll link to that down below. Another reason that I'm sharing all of these books is because I just really need to be able to declare my goals, especially for this spring stack. I need to be able to declare my goals to other people, even if you're out on the interwebs and I don't know you in real life. I like to be able to say, this is what I'm going to do, because then in my head, I've committed to doing that. Even if y'all aren't gonna hold me accountable to it, it helps me to hold myself accountable. Jane Eyre, which I've talked about a little bit before, I will link to that below as well. And Why Do We Say It? I started this book and I talked about it a little bit in another video. Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Ah! Oh dear. Okay, I got this for Christmas and I still haven't read it yet. So I'd like this to be part of my spring reading because it's a retelling of Alice in Wonderland, and that just seems like a kind of springy thing, even though the cover seems more wintry than anything else. Okay, so this is my spring stack. I also have the third Elsie book, which I'm currently reading, so it's not in this stack. But that totals 1, 2, 3, 11 books, plus the one I'm currently reading. And then I have some economics books that I'm reading right now, but that's required reading and totally doesn't count. Okay, so that is spring TBR. And then I labeled a stack summer reading, and these are a lot of classics and a lot of just really good, solid stories that I've been looking forward to reading for a very long time, just for the sake of the story itself. This is a very tall stack. It is the tallest of the stacks, and so it might be easier to do the second section. Here we go. Okay, so the first half is Les Miserables, a classic that I should read sometime in my lifetime. Why not this summer? Tuck Everlasting is a kid's book, and it's really short, but it seems like summer reading. Like, it seems like third grade summer reading, but I'm just now getting around to it. Death on the Nile. I have 2 copies of it, but I'm going to read one of them and use that as a mystery for the summer. And then Scarlet is the sequel to Gone with the Wind, and I read Gone with the Wind at the end of 2015, and I really liked it, and so I'm really eager to read a sequel, even though it's not by the same author. It just seems like a good summer reading book, because my cousin always reads Gone with the Wind over the summer. Jane and the Unpleasantness at Scargrave Manor. This book is going to be garbage, and I cannot wait. Not, like, inappropriate, but, like, it's going to be not very good. I have low expectations. This one seems more interesting. It's a bunch of short stories about Jane Austen. A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett is classic summer reading. The other half of this stack is a little bit thicker. Oof. The Little Bookstore of Big Stone Gap just seems like a really good solid story. It's contemporary, I believe. Alice I Have Been is supposed to be like the backstory of Alice in Wonderland. Part love story, part literary mystery. It's a historical novel. It's about the girl who inspired Alice in Wonderland. Another copy of Death on the Nile. Storm Siren by Mary Weber. I haven't talked about this book much, but I got it through a Twitter giveaway, and I'm really excited to read it. It seems like a good, solid book for summer, and it's fantasy, so it'll get that base covered. This is The Atonement Child. Is it even on the cover? There it is. The Atonement Child by Francine Rivers. Seems like a really good one. Secret Keepers by Trenton Lee Stewart. It's going to be an awesome summer novel. Mosquito Land. That just says summer in the title, doesn't it? The Wind in the Willows, I could have put with spring, but I already feel like we're in spring and the pressure to finish stuff is coming. So I just decided to move that one to summer. The Help by Catherine Stockett. I've heard a million good things about that. And The Beekeeper's Apprentice by Laurie R. King. And I have not read that one yet or told y'all much about it, but it is about Sherlock Holmes and his sidekick that this lady invented, the author of this book invented, called Mary Russell. And it looks good, so we shall see. It's got a very summery cover with the whole bee theme. Okay, so that one is summer reading. Now we're moving on to what I like to call freshman fall. And this is just a taste of the books that I am considering bringing to college. These are just the ones that I haven't read. There are a bunch that I personally have as my favorites that I will probably feel compelled to bring with me to college. I keep wanting to create a books I'm bringing to college video, but I really don't know what that's going to look like. But here's part of it. Here's some books I'm planning on bringing to college and reading this fall. What the Dog Saw by Malcolm Gladwell is, I really don't know. I think it's a bunch of stories. He seems like a very interesting person, and I heard really good things about his writing. This is also a nonfiction book. These are 2 books by the same author, and Blink is The Power of Thinking Without Thinking by Malcolm Gladwell. It seems like a really good book for going into adulthood and stuff. Home by Julie Andrews, because I need a memoir. Not Without Laughter by Langston Hughes. A Wind in the Door by Madeleine L'Engle. This is the second in the Time Quintet. Orphan Train by Christina Baker Klein. I tried to find a bunch of books with like white spines, and then I found a bunch with like similar covers, and that's actually how I kind of chose this fall reading. So don't judge, but I want them to look good on my shelves at college. This is The 3 Theban Plays. That sounds like a good English major book. Daring to Live on the Edge is really good because it's money management. and becoming Jane Eyre. Hopefully I will have finished my spring reading by the time I get to my fall reading, and I can read spin-offs and retellings of Jane Eyre. Alright, so this video is getting really long, so I'm going to move on to my winter reads. Winter reads. And I'm okay if I don't finish these in 2017. I would like to finish them in 2017, but as long as they're finished in winter, that might turn into 2018. We shall see. Or it might just be like over my winter break between college semesters. I really was planning these based on like season of life, and then it turned into literal seasons of the year. Okay, so for the winter reads snowflake books, I have The Book of Three by Lloyd Alexander. I always forget. Okay, so these are really just a bunch of random books that didn't make it into any of the other seasons and that I'm kind of putting off because I'm not that interested in reading. The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult. Lizzie and Jane by Catherine Rie. This one's actually going to be good, but it's red, so I'm kind of turned off the cover. Dream a Little Dream. The End of Me by Kyle Idleman. I don't know if I've shown y'all that one yet. It's pretty new. To the TBR stack. A Little Bit Wicked is a fun celebrity memoir or celebrity biography. This is The Lord of the Rings. It is gigantic, and so I have to read that over a break. The Bookstore seems cute. The Good and Beautiful God. Whew. Seems good. It's, I just thought I'd break up some of the nonfiction and have a Christian book in there. The Evolution of the Creationist. It's scientific, but I thought I'm not going to want to read anything scientific during the school year, so why not do it during a break? And then The Nesting Place by Michael Smith, which I still have not read. Fortunately, this video didn't turn into a bunch of me saying, oh, I've never read that book, or I've still never read that book, or I should have read that book. But that's basically what I was thinking the whole time, is this is my TBR, these are books I've owned for possibly years and never gotten around to. And now I have a game plan, and that's why I'm declaring it to you, is so that you can either hold me accountable or just for my own peace of mind, so that I know that y'all have expectations of me, and I'm going to do my best to continue through the Elsie series and read Jane Eyre. Those are my two priorities for spring, is to finish that series and to read Jane Eyre, because you have to read Jane Eyre to be an English major. Alright, don't forget, the book was better.